Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video we are looking at Applied Digital. This was a stock analysis request from one of the followers, and I wanted to let you know that anyone can make these requests and I will most likely cover them, especially if there is an actionable trade setup to follow. Now in the case of this chart, we are unfortunately dealing with a large period, having extremely low volume of trading. For a very significant amount of time it has been traded only over the counter, and in many of the days it actually had less than 100 shares being traded overall. And in this case we need to be a bit more flexible with the structure that we are overall tracking, because it may not be as representative of the general market sentiment, which is what we are tracking with the Elliott wave theory. So it may not prove as useful for the counts that we may see developing here on the chart, because I could argue that of course this is a series of 3-1-2 setups, this is a third wave up, a fourth wave down, and then we get a fifth wave developing to the upside. And of course a couple of 4-5 are still expected afterwards. This could be an impulse, but this structural data is not reliable, and for that reason we will focus mostly on what has been happening since this low that has happened in July 2022. And it's soon after it's been released, it's been traded publicly. And in that case, in this area, I do have a few different counts I could be tracking. Now the most relevant count, or one of the most relevant counts, would be the idea that this may be developing as an ABC structure to the upside, within which scenario we have here something like an ABC, then we have an ABC correction in wave B, and in the wave C to the upside we are tracking an ending diagonal where we have the wave 1 and 2 complete, and in the wave 3 we have a wave A, a wave B, and within the wave C, the internal wave C, we are once again tracking an ending diagonal. And here we have a wave 1 up, a wave 2 down, a third wave up, and now we could be looking easily for the correction in the wave 4, for which I can provide you an area of support that actually I should get a little bit closer for, but it would be a general area of support for this wave 4 correction between the, let's see, $31 level all the way down to the 61.8% retracement at the $20.4 level. And as long as this holds, we can still track continuation to the upside, in this pattern in a wave C, which will complete afterwards the larger wave 3, and then we can actually still continue to track even higher highs even after. Now in this interpretation we need to be aware that it is a diagonal structure, pretty much every single wave that is developing in a 5-wave structure, and it is a bit more difficult to track. We need to be open to interpretations, and even in this area we did reach it, so technically we did fulfill the minimum expectations of a correction in a wave 4, and it's not even necessarily too small to be considered complete, but I would need it in that case to hold here a smaller support zone for something like an AB movement that could have started, could be even a 1-2. Keep in mind, in the fifth wave that would develop afterwards, we would be looking for something like an ABC pattern to the upside. Now this is an interpretation that is being handled by itself. There is no other scenarios that necessarily focus on this interpretation. But then I do also have a couple of different scenarios that both rely on a very small structure working out here in the top of this area. And this would be where we have here either a 1-2 setup, where this would be a third wave to the upside that, in that case, it would develop something like a 1-2, a third wave up, a fourth afterwards, and then we still get a fifth. So in this case we would be developing a larger diagonal structure to the upside, where within this wave 3 we would expect an ABC pattern, but for this wave B, or sorry, for this wave C, we do need to push still considerably higher. And in this wave C it can be the case that it is developing as a diagonal structure, but honestly if I consider this a wave 1 and this a wave 2, I don't really have enough structural data for this to be a clear ABC, and I do not have an ideal target reached in this case for a third wave to the upside. Yeah, I would still need further continuation higher, and in this case we could be looking for a somewhat more different support zone, but I believe this will suffice in the idea that we would be tracking here a double 1-2-1-2 setup, where if this support zone fails for such a correction in wave 2, I would heavily consider that we are probably in the yellow interpretation that I presented a moment ago. Now again, we also have a possible internal 1-2 setup developing in this area, but we do also have this general area of support between the $34 level all the way down to the $28.7 level. Now, as I was saying, this does apply for a couple of different interpretations, because in this movement to the upside in the white scenario, I could in fact also consider the structure of this chart allows for us to also consider the idea of a series of 1-2 setups that are developing in this area, and even here 1-2 1-2 1-2, but then it would need to be a series of 1-2 setups all the way throughout to the top, and it does really need to start a very strong third wave to the upside to actually back up the structure that has developed previously. Now, this isn't necessarily my favorite interpretation. It is easy to invalidate. Okay, if we break below this wave 2 support zone, it will likely not work out, and if we break below the beginning of this wave 1, yeah, it is formally invalidated, and we would need to pretty much shift to the other interpretation that we have here in the yellow scenario, and I'm going to hide this white one. So yeah, this is a more pertinent interpretation in my opinion, where yeah, it is likely that we will still see continuation higher, but in this ending diagonal within the wave C, where we still need an ABC pattern to complete it. And for now, these are the levels. This is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe and let me know what else you want me to cover, and I'll do my best to do that in the days and weeks ahead. And until then, I hope you have a nice day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.